Alright, hello. This has got to be the last video for tonight. It's the middle of the night again. But I've got so many. I've still got a whole bunch of videos to keep doing. Madonna. Madonna's version of American Pie. Okay. We're going to do some number jumps with it. It's interesting. No doubt it was going to be interesting. But this is Madonna's version of the song American Pie by Don McLean. Okay. The first thing you'll note, before we even get really into the decode proper, the first thing to note is the length of the song. Okay. And it's 4 minutes 33. Now, if you recall, the original is 8 minutes 42 seconds long. I just thought it'd be interesting to see what the difference between those two song lengths was. Okay, so I did the 8:42 minus 4 minutes 33 seconds, and it came out at 4.15 minutes difference. Again, 4:15, the burning of Notre Dame, the sinking of the Titanic, the 4:15. Okay, anyway. What is that in seconds though? Look at this. Okay, so 4:15 minutes, 4.15 minutes is 4.15 is 249 seconds. 249 seconds. Yes, this is the age of the USA now, just turned 249. Yeah. Also recall that Don McLean's version is 842, which was the age of the US. Okay, in reverse, 248 years. Now we're into 249. Okay, and his song 842 is the reverse of 248. If I'm saying them numbers right. Anyway, so you can see that is very interesting. Okay, so we have this. So we have that number. We have the birth. We have the year now for this year, referenced in, from her song. Okay, with that difference in the times. Now let's do the number jump. Okay, we're going to do the number jump for the release date, 8th of February, which is interesting because if you recall, Cody was doing all the end of the line 2/8 Super Bowl stuff, and here it is popping up again. And also I got a date popping up for Madonna, which I thought would be interesting for her to go off to the island on, and that was the 20th of August. So I've got to do a few more bits and pieces of decodes for that. I'll show you some more stuff on that, but 8/20 was a date I was looking at for Madonna to go off to the island. So again, let's do the number jump for this one. And here it is. Hang on a minute. Let's just start here. The 8th of February 2000, the release of that song, through to 9/1. Okay. Our date for the Hoover Dam or World War III to break out, or something interesting to happen, maybe. 9337 days. We click on it and we find out that it is the 1155th prime. Okay, so 1155 is super duper important with my decode chart, the chart of Lorraine with Back to the Future. It is essentially well, how about we just go to it and I'll explain it. Okay, let's do that first, and then we'll come back and do the other number jump that I got to show you as well. Okay, so this is the chart of Lorraine decode chart. Some of you may be familiar with this if you watch the channel all the time, and others may not be. Here is the metaphysical column. Yeah, so this would be Tower 2 of the Twin Towers, and here's the physical column. This would be Tower 1, and here's Tower 7 here. Okay, so these are the Twin Towers right here. Okay. obviously when we're dealing with Madonna, we're dealing with the metaphysical, and you'll see straight away the 5, 5, 11 coming at the top of the tower there. Okay, with the metaphysical. Now back to the future. Yeah, what represents the metaphysical is the clock tower. Okay, and if I draw the clock tower into this chart, this is Fibonacci, Lucas, pi numbers, what I call pi numbers, and then I call these ones phi numbers because of the 5, 1, and the 1, 6 in here, and yada yada yada. But this is just Fibonacci type cycles just compiled in a table. Okay, so the golden ratio is encoded in here, and obviously yeah, those cycles are in here. Okay, and of course when you look down the bottom of these totals, these greens are totals for each column. The 55 and 88 shine out, don't they? And you think of Back to the Future straight away. Well, let me show you this. Because if I draw the clock tower in here, right, and so you have, 1, 2, 3, 4 pillars on the clock tower, and then the time on the clock is 10:04. Well, there's the numerology for the clock. Okay, so you can the number 14 in there. So there's your 10:04 on the clock. And then if you think about lightning coming down in a stylized way, 5, 5, 55 coming down, hitting the top of the clock tower, following the line down, and look where it goes straight past is the 911 straight away. It comes across the street, okay, and we have the barber shop, which is a Mayday reference on the side of the where it comes to the line where it finishes up. We also have, see, this is Fibonacci numbers here, and if you were to change this 0 to the, technically speaking, if you turn Fibonacci into a cycle, okay, which is, if you're new here and you've not seen this before, then this is not going to make much sense. But each one of these different number lines here is secular if you reduce it down to its root numbers, right? So these make a 24 digit cycle, okay, when they're reduced down. So Fibonacci is just a cycle that's continuing on, right? This is the start of the cycle here, technically, is this number 1. So really, what we should have here is, if we reduce that cycle down, this 0 would actually be a 9. Okay, that's important to know because, ground zero, and this should be really the number 9 that is on the Western Auto sign, okay, on the other side of the street. So we've got this coming down the line, the lightning, electricity coming down the line to the barber pole, maypole. We've got the 911 we've got the 9 Western Auto sign, okay, and then the fire trails, of course, come through, and of course we've got the 11 here representing the fire trails. And also what is created is, we've got the numbers of pi right here, and what we have created is, why is this not on this? What we have created is, let's do it in red, we have the symbol of pi created as well. Okay, the other thing that's created there in that whole thing as well is Doc's car is a Packard 8. So we have the 811, we have the 8 with the Packard 8 parked on the side of the road, so we have 811 referenced in there as well. And if you've ever, I called this the double cross of Lorraine because it's got that symbolism in it, which is interesting with the tie back to Lorraine Baines McFly as well. But also the Leviathan cross has that same, it's the same sort of symbolism with the Leviathan cross. This is it, the cross for sulfur. Okay, that's the Leviathan cross, and again the 811 that's within there. It's the physical and metaphysical meeting. It's the key. It's the what else I want to say about it? Oh yeah, it's the symbol for sulfur. Sulfur is S, and so that is the 19 again, the pi. So now when you think about, like years ago, I'm sure I did a decode that was called Sulfur Man for Superman, and you have that S in his thing. Yeah, the 19 reference with Superman. And I might as well just do this in this decode as well while I'm talking about it. I think I've got the tabs up for it. But of course, in the 1978 film Superman with Christopher Reeve, he saves Jimmy when the Hoover Dam is breaking. In that film, he saves Jimmy, the photographer, who is he is in Back to the Future, Dave. Okay, he is Marty's brother in Back to the Future. Hopefully I've got the number jumps up. I can find them, but you'll see it's super interesting with him. Maybe I'll just do a whole other video for it. But Sulfur Man, Superman. Okay, super duper interesting, and you have the colors for sulfur in its as it changes from solid to liquid and so forth and so on. You know, the yellow and the sort of blood consistency, blood red that it turns when you burn it with the blue. Okay. Anyway, oh, and also the atomic. I want to say S is 19, and I think sulfur is 16 atomic number. Okay, seeing some connections there, aren't we? Okay, so now I've got sidetracked, but anyway, so you can see this is the 5, 5, and 11. This is the top of that whole thing. Now, again, if you watch my videos, you'll know that 155 is a really important number jump in the dollar bill, and we see this sort of, in fact, it's echoed twice in the dollar bill, with 122 as well. So fascinating stuff. What else do I want to mention here? Nothing else with Back to the Future, so to speak, right now, but that is where that is. That's where that is in that table. It's to do with the metaphysical, and again in Back to the Future, if you overlay the clock tower into this table, which is something that, just I come across, later after I'd already made this table. That was something that just happened to happen. You put these things in, and all of a sudden you're like, oh wow, the night of the storm. Yeah, yeah, the 12th of November just happens to be right here. You know what I mean? It's just, you can't write this stuff. I mean, I just don't know how the hell that is even possible. Anyway, and then we did the old, the Donald Trump decodes as well, with this sign, and the lightning shooting across and hitting the 9 that looks like an ear, and again look at the numbers that are down here for the where the lightning's going. And look at the number here for the lightning going past something, number 47. Oh dear, 713. I mean, it's just absolutely crazy. Anyway, let me get off of this and let's see if we can figure out some of these number jumps. So that was what was so interesting about that 1155. It's a super duper time with Back to the Future. And again, look at the blooming start of the Back to the Future with the 25 references. 25 years, 205 days, 25, 25 numerology there. What else we got in here, Dan? Okay, so this is from the album The Next Best Thing. Okay, and it's a film, right, with Madonna in it and this dude. And I've got that film up here, and we can look at the release date of the film. Okay, the release date is 3/3/2000, March the 3rd, 2000. So let's do a number jump now from that, and let's see what we end up with. What's this one here? Okay, you already see it. 3/3/2000 through to 9/1/2025. Oh lordy lord, look at it. Oh, you know, with the 913 stuff now, having something like that popping up is just crazy. You know, was there something interesting with the number properties of 9313? Super duper interesting, because lo and behold, 8160th composite number right here, and 816 of course is Madonna's birthday. So it just is. I mean, you can't. You just can't write that kind of stuff, you know. Was there something else I wanted to mention in there? I don't think so. But anyway, yeah, its lead single was American Pie. Now, I did have the video up for American Pie. What did I do with it? We'll go on to that in just a second. That other stuff there, right here. I'm not going to go through the video too much. I just want to point out, you know, what she's wearing in the video. If we could ever find. And there's two things I want to point out in this video. Okay, we're not going to do a whole video decode. I just don't have time. Notice that she is wearing. Okay, she's got the Virgin Mary colours on with a little top here at the top. You know, what was interesting was this, with this reference back to Princess Diana. So this tiara thing, whatever that is. I thought it was very interesting with the idea of the reference back to Princess Diana. And then somewhere through here we have some numbers on some football team players. Where the hell is it? And I just wanted to reference this as well. Here we go. So at this point, well, let's play just a second of it. So they are going to show you these players, and what you'll notice is the guy in the middle here is kind of the biggest player, and they actually focus in on him, right? The 68. Yeah, this is our pie. 68 years is that pie jump. It's 68 years one day, but it's actually 68 years as well. You don't, if you include the end date, it's comes out, you know, you can fudge it so it works. Okay, so 68 years is this pie jump, okay, which is the 31413 palindromic pi number jump that we were looking at from World War II, start of World War II to 9/1 this year. Okay, so anyway, it's interesting they focus in on this dude here, and that's really all I wanted to say. Her jeans rip as she sits down. Yeah, the jeans, the Billie Jean, the 501 Levi's. I don't know what they are, but you know, you get it. You know, the 51, the 501, the Mayday that ties in with 9/1, Twin Day of the Year, and this thing rips. Her jeans supposedly rip open. You hear the rip. Okay. Was there anything else I wanted to mention about this? Not particularly. Notice the flag in the background. Obviously, Flag Day ties back in with Donald Trump. Okay, and what we just had occur with the 250 for Mary decode that I did as well. So it's just, oh dear, oh dear. Okay, so that was that. Now, on the topic of, now let me show you something else interesting, because this is actually a good time to do this. Okay, this is, no, we don't want that. We don't want, it's just a blank thing. And I haven't even finished looking at this stuff, so I've got all kinds of other bits and pieces in it. Let's go to this. So I've got Mark McClure, Mark McClure. I don't know how you say that. McClure, McClure, right? Maybe. Mark McClure of Dave McFly in Back to the Future. Okay, that's the actor's name, and this is who he plays, Jimmy Olsen in Superman. Interesting with the 135, 135, and those numbers are pretty. That's pretty interesting, isn't it? With the 135 repeated. But anyway, Dave McFly is a 9-1. Surprise, surprise. Got the pie with Dave McFly. Okay, who is on the Hoover Dam and saved by Superman. Okay, so and interestingly, we do have the picture with Dave is kind of part of the big reference in Back to the Future with Dave, as he's in the picture and he disappears. Okay, and obviously he's the photographer in Superman, so that's kind of interesting as well with the photo connection. And obviously the photo thing gets hit as well. The Fox photo booth thing as well, when Marty makes this jump back to 1955. Anyway, so we've got that 9-1 connection there. What is more interesting as well is this number jump. So right here, what was this number jump? Hang on a minute. I don't know what that one is. Hang on a minute before we get too carried away with number jumps. Can't remember what that one was. Hang on a minute. Let's go to actually. Well, there's another thing to look at as well. We'll look at that in a minute. March the 31st, 1957 is what we've got to look up. So here it is. So this is his birthday, 3 to 9-1. Again, this is, there's nothing really terribly interesting about this number when we go down and look at all this stuff bump down here. The 2222228 composite. But again, okay, we've just been talking about the 28, but with Madonna's release of that song. But again, if we just look at the number right here, and just let's just split the number, and it becomes really interesting. Yeah, the country has just turned 249 years old, and now we're looking at 9-1, the 9-1 date on the end of this number. So this is well interesting, isn't it? Let me just show you. Let me just split that so you can see. You split it right there. There's our 249 years old. I could do it without writing through it, and there's our 9-1 date. Kind of interesting, isn't it? Let's go back to this other one now. What was this? What was this? I can't remember what that 27th of May 95. That might, well, gosh, there's another thing to talk about here in a minute. Oh, I tell you what that was. No, that wasn't anything to do with Mark McClure. No, bloody hell, I can't remember what that was. Hang on a minute. Oh, that's what it was. Okay. I'll tell you, I got so much stuff going on right now. It's just absolutely crazy. I can't keep up with it. So, Christopher Reeve, I should say that right. Christopher Reeve, who is Superman. Okay, if you're familiar with him, you'll know that he spent the latter half of his life in a wheelchair from falling off a horse. Okay, and that accident happened on May the 27th, 1995. Okay, and that's that number jump we've got in here through to 9-1. is this same 11:55 that I was just showing you with the clock tower. Absolutely crazy. Anything interesting down here? I don't think I even looked down here. Nothing really majorly interesting, but it's the 11:55 that's interesting. Okay, that's what's interesting. That set of numbers that is the top of the clock tower. Anyway, there was something else in here that I wanted to talk about while I was talking about. Let me just mention this when we're talking about the pie. Actually, I'm just going to lump all this other stuff in here because I can't be doing it. But anyway, the pyrite, not the pirate, not Captain Jack, but the pyrite. This mineral, iron pyrite. Okay, you might have heard it before. It's fool's gold. Okay, so this is made from iron and sulfur. So this is I just thought this was a nice tie back in with Superman with the Sulfur Man connection. Okay, and then the idea of the Man of Steel, steel made from iron, of course, and then the sulfur connection. So iron sulfide, or iron disulfide, if you want to call it that, is this fool's gold. Quite interesting. And of course, formula mass 119.98, whatever that means. It forms a cube crystalline structure. That's very interesting, isn't it? So this idea of the gold cube, and the connection with the cube, the 666, the gold, and I mean, just go around in circles with it all. But I just thought that would be interesting to mention. Fool's gold, fool's gold, the fool of gold. George McFly's birthday. I think it's George McFly's birthday. I think he gets murdered on 3/15, March the 15th. So the day after Pi, 3/14. So again, and of course the 153 is all references to the Vesica Pisces, which again is the idea of the window, the gateway, the portal from one side of reality to the other side of reality. I'm gonna leave it. I think I got to leave it there. Was there anything else I wanted to mention? Let's do this. I got one more pie. So forget the pirate with Jack Sparrow, because that's decodes for another day as well with the pie with that. There is one more I want to show you, and that is if you are familiar with, again, we're talking about Masons now. If you have come across people talking about the Masons, you will have heard them talk about this dude, Albert Pike. Okay, and of course, again with the pie, the pie, the pikey. Yeah, and now I'm thinking about blooming Snatch with Guy Ritchie and Madonna. But the pie key, again, Albert Pike supposedly predicted World War III, or said there will be 3 world wars. And the letter that this is supposedly in, or whatever, I don't really know anything about it, to be quite honest. I've heard people talk about it in decodes before, but I've not bothered to really do any research on this at all. But anyway, the 15th of August 1871, and if we look at the number jump for the 15th of August 1871 through, again, it's palindropic. Okay, so this Third World War date that's supposedly coming from Albert Pike, the Mason, is giving us this 56265 number jump. palindromic number jump. That's not want to show me what's down here. Come on. Number properties, come on. Anything really interesting down here? Not really. But I was going to show you something that's interesting with this 56265 because it's very close to, hang on, to a number in pi. So let me show you this. Don't save. Okay, here I've got the, forget the rest of this table for right now. Here I've got the numbers of pi, and so let's look at this set of numbers here in pi. And so okay, it's not perfectly, it's not a palindromic number because this 9 here really needs to be turned around to a 6, but there we got it, 56265. It's in kind of in the numbers of pi, and we definitely do have this referenced here, this portion of it. And again, if you look above what I've got here, with this is the first 24 digits of pi, and I've got synchronized with that the numbers of the Fibonacci cycle, the 24 digits of Fibonacci, and they are synchronized right here. As you can tell, these two numbers within both sets are matching, and you can see that, you know, that this whole bunch of stuff here is tying in with, you know, this stuff in Fibonacci, and this is the, you know, of course this is the 1 9, this is the, no, that's not right. This is the beginning and end here. So the 9 here is the end, and this is the beginning. Okay, so you can see how that ties in. I just thought it was interesting. Not to mention, look what we got right before this is coming up as well. 265 coming up right before it as well. So again, very, very interesting. Again, here's the Madonna. While I'm here, I'll show you the Madonna stuff. Here's the 2-8 coming up right before, the 2-8 numerology coming up right before this date. So, you know, when Cody's seeing 2-8 for the Super Bowl, again, are we going to make it to the Super Bowl before we see this happen? Or is it just the fact that it's referencing, you know, that whole thing? And of course, the Super Bowl is really a reference to the Vesica Pisces. The shape of the ball is the gateway to the other dimension. Anyway, while we're here, here is the golden ratio underneath here, and the golden ratio phi. Okay, and again, if we come through here, right? In fact, let me. Well, where's the best place to show you this? Right here is what we want. So again, we got Mr. H. His birthday was Mr. H, the instigator of World War II. That's what we're told anyway. That was his birthday this year. That was Easter this year, and it was also the actor that plays George McFly. That was his birthday as well. Okay, whatever his name is, it's gone from my head right now. Why can't I think of it? Anyway, it doesn't matter. Why this is interesting, because of Easter. Here is the 820 that I was looking at for Madonna, tying into Easter. So 820, there was some other good number jumps that I discussed already with that 820, but it's, you know, within the golden ratio, and of course phi, and of course her birthday numbers right at the start of this thing. Okay, boy, was there anything else? I must let me point out one other thing, is that down the bottom here, this again is phi, but it's just starting and ending in a different spot. Okay, so let me get rid of all this stuff so I can just show you this, why this 820 is also important. Because, okay, the first 24 digits of pi is synchronized with the 24 digits of Fibonacci cycle here with these two numbers. And then what I've got down the bottom here, see this 88 in Fibonacci right here? This 88 right down here in the golden ratio, phi, is synchronized here. So when we have that synchronized with the 88, now we can see, look, what are the numbers that are floating on around this and this, okay? And if we drop down, you can see the 33, that's going to be in there, that's important. And again, if we look down the bottom of here, again, what's in there? This is what I was just explaining. This is the 420 and the 820. Okay, that's it's right underneath this stuff here. So again, this whole thing with that Albert Pike, what was going on there with that palindromic number, this is very close. And then again, look, the whole stuff with the 415 stuff with Titanic, and it's all numbers that are all clustered when you synchronize them together. Okay, I think that was it. I do have one more number jump which I'm going to show you now because I can't be bothered to do another video on this. The film, okay, American Pie. You might remember this load of crud. Okay, the second main character in here, I just want to mention, has Chris Klein, again, references back to Christ, has the March 14th birthday, and in fact born in 79, gold, super duper interesting. And let's go back a second, let's do a number jump. Again, look at the numbers that are in here with the 7-9 again for the release date, July the 9th. 1999, and it's 95 minutes long. And so again, 95 is one of these dates that's falling at the start of September here that we're looking at. It's right here. Let's look at the number jump from the film through to 91. Oh dear, it's the 951. Please, if you're not subscribed to We Seek We Find, that's a channel that is extremely good. We Seek We Find, in fact, all the Decoding with Code is great. 88 Finished and Porous, all good. I don't know, I mean, there's so many good channels out there doing decodes, and there's so many people in the comments of those channels that have such good information, like people commenting here as well. I mean, sometimes it's worth watching these channels just to read the comments on some of the stuff. Anyway, yeah, look at this. Yeah, and what we have to recall is when we go from the beginning of the United States through to 91 is the 915 numerology again. Okay, so again, and again, if we just back up, there we go. Want to back up a couple of days, 830. We're back to the pi numbers here as well. Okay, which is super duper interesting. With the start of all this stuff. Oh, that speaker. Anyway, I think I've done everything. The pi key, yeah, the pi key, the Albert Pike. There's so many references to pi now that once you start thinking about it. Oh dear. Yeah, the Jack Sparrow stuff. In fact, I think doesn't Johnny Depp have the same birthday day of the year as Michael J. Fox, maybe, or same numerology or similar numerology? I can't remember. But yeah, done everything. That's pretty cool. Yeah, just double check. Sulfur was 16. Okay. All right. Sulfur Man, Superman. Um, like I said, there's so much more. I'll just to end the video. A lot of this stuff that I'm going through right now is stuff that I've talked about before in the old videos in the back catalogue there. I got a ton of videos. Obviously, some of them, you know, aren't quite hitting the nail on the head, but some of them do. Um, and I got a lot of interesting old videos actually in the back catalogue. So if you can bear to dig through it, there is some good stuff in there. Anyway, I'm going to call it quits for tonight. I think I'm almost completely up to date. In that previous video, I forgot to mention, I put it in the comments about the Kerrville thing and all the connection to the canning jar with the Mason connection with Kerrville and the Mason jar and the canning jar. At the start of Back to the Future, the canning jar, the can of dog food is opened and is plopped into Einstein's bowl. Einstein, of course, is born on 314, and so we'll have this connection back to pi again. Obviously everybody's probably familiar with that connection with Einstein and pi, and Einie's the first time traveler. So this connection back to pi again with the whole idea of time traveling and making that jump through the gateway. Okay, hopefully I haven't got anything out of there. Alright, thanks for watching. And yeah, I'll catch you on another one soon. Bye.